weeks of pure ball talk has gotten us to this very moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we've talked the Super Bowl, we've talked March Madness, we've talked some baseball, we've talked virtually anything you can think of in the world of sports from this past spring. But get ready, because we cannot slow down yet. All of those hot takes and friendly banter come down to this. It's time to lock in, because it is April 16th, so get ready, and we're talking everything out on the one and only College Crossfire Spring 2025 Tournament of Champions.
All right, go with classic. The 9-9-9. I'm going to do the 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings challenge.
Need I say more? Need I say more? Need I say more at all?
From Costco specifically, I'm going to take 2 double chunk chocolate cookies, ice cream sandwich, but it's fried.
It's about to get hot here, folks.
It's about to get hot.
All right, I'm going with classic. The 9-9-9. I'm going to...
Good evening to everyone tuning in tonight. I'm your host, Robert Gonsoulin, and we've got a very exciting show in store for you. The wait is over, the points have been totaled up, and it is time to crown one final champion on College Crossfire. Sitting before me are 2 right here, but there's also 4 in the audience, so 6 talented and ball-knowing contestants who have either won their way onto this show with dominating success or having just it out across multiple episodes to earn themselves a spot in one of these 2 chairs tonight. To everyone watching, who is it going to be this semester? It could be anyone. I want to share that today's show is brought to you by Cat Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between, so plan your ride to this weekend's game at catmetro.org. All right, so without further ado, it's the Tournament of Champions. Let's get right into it. This semester's tournament will operate a little differently than before. Instead of doing a 2 separate rounds with 3 contestants each, we are doing 3 rounds with 2 contestants. That means our 1 and 6 seeds, 2 and 5 seeds, and 3 and 4 seeds will all face each other in a one-on-one sports debate. There will still be 3 questions per round, but this time I'm only going to dish out points in the amounts of 3 and 2. The winner of each round will get to move on to the 4th and final round, which will be our rapid fire round and serve as the championship stage. That's going to be dished out in the amounts of 6, 4, and 2, because we'll have 3 contestants for that once again. So only one person who wins each round will get to move on to rapid fire and have a chance at crowning themselves as the championship of this tournament. All right. As we know, you have not been able to see your rapid fire questions yet, so you're going to have to think on your feet and come up with your idea of what the best possible answer is. As we've had multiple instances this semester, in the event that there's a tie by the end of the championship stage, I do have a bonus question prepared to determine our Spring 2025 College Crossfire champion. As always, let's get right into this one. We cannot start any show without introducing our contestants. I think it's time to get right into it. Okay, so for our first round tonight, we have our first lineup. Starting things off, right to my left, we have our 1 seed for the Tournament of Champions with an accumulated total of 78 points. He knows a thing or two about this show, as he was last year's Crossfire host, a huge Houston sports fan who is confident in his Rockets taking on Golden State this weekend. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Ryan Swantkowski.
Thank you, everybody. Robert G, thank you for that great introduction. Great to be back. Feels good to be the 1 seed and excited to get into it. It's going to be a good time.
It's great to have you on. So, those Rockets, 0-4 from 2015 to 2019. Do you think they can do it this time?
I definitely think they can do it. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about the Rockets this year. I've been following a little bit. Yeah, they're going to turn that around. Yeah.
Here we go. Making it 1-5, hopefully, against the Warriors. All right. Ryan, welcome on. In the next seat, we have a man who is not afraid to take on any contestant or rebut their answers in a sports debate. He's got his Lakers in 5 and is ready to take on any talk of the NBA. He totaled up 54 points across 2 episodes. It's time to welcome on Mr. Aram Vela.
Are you done? Good evening, Robert. Honestly, don't know why I'm here. Don't know how I got here. Just a lot of confusion going on in my head right now. But I'm here. I made it. So.
That's dark horse talking right there.
Well, 1 win on Crossfire and then absolutely going off. And then absolutely going off in the rapid fire round of the next one that you lost. It gets you a lot of points, and you know, you never know where you end up. But we're happy to have you on. All right. So now that we've introduced our first 2 contestants for the first round, our very beloved associate producer, Mr. Gabriel Silva, will do a coin toss to see who will get to go first tonight.
Do I call it? Do I call heads?
You get to call it, Ryan. You're the 1 seed.
Hold in the air. Good. Heads. Hey, there we go.
All right. Ryan Swantkowski will get to answer the first question. And so, now that we've gone over the rules, we've introduced everyone, let's get right into the Tournament of Champions. Let's bring out some more energy from our audience.
Come
There
on,
we
guys.
go.
Come on.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Starting it right now. After their series win over Kentucky this past weekend, Texas baseball was ranked the #1 team in the entire country as they now boast a 29-5 overall record. They have now made their way to the halfway point of the regular season as they are 5-0 in series against SEC opponents with another 5 more to play before the conference tournament. Which player or asset has been the biggest contributor to Texas's large success so far this season, and why? Ryan started off.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the pitching. When you look at Schloss coming into UT, this was before the season, this was during the season, we're halfway through. It's still been a main emphasis on the pitching needed to improve, and it definitely has. Jared Spencer and Luke Harrison, UT's 2 best starting pitchers, 6-1 win-loss, and a sub-3 combined ERA, right at 3. They've pitched 90 innings combined together. They've been consistent as it gets. They've been solid throughout the entire year. They're one of the main reasons why UT's only lost, I believe, 5 games this year. You go to the bullpen. Last year wasn't great either. This year under Schloss, much improved with true freshman Dylan Volantis pitching really well, and along with Max Grubbs in the bullpen. So, I mean, as you can tell throughout the year, the bullpen and the pitch staff has been improved dramatically. That's what Schloss came here to do. That's what he's doing. Got to give it to the pitching staff.
So, you know, last year you had Texas baseball playing in the regional. They lose to A&M, and I believe they also lost to Louisiana Lafayette. You lose to those 2 teams, you go, the pitching is really struggling under David Pierce. Here you bring in Coach Schloss, and things are really starting to turn around, especially that's what you see on the field. Aram.
So, yeah, I think part of the reason that the pitching is so good is because, you know, Coach Schloss came in, he transformed what was, you know, I'm not a baseball fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I heard a lot of people TSTV complaining last year about pitching. So, you know, part of the reason they're so successful in the SEC, Coach Schloss was at Texas A&M last year in the SEC. He's used to the opponents. He's used to, you know, probably what is the best. It is the best conference for baseball. So, I'm gonna say, you know, it has to do with, and it's also a mentality thing. So, let me tell you a story real quick, Rob. I have a class with Andre Duplantier. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah.
Not
The
sure.
pitcher, right?
Yeah. So that was probably the only class he showed up with, and we were forced to work together. So, I see, bro. Let me finish my story. It's important. So he was talking to me about we didn't do the assignment. Obviously, he said, you know, Coach Pierce last year it was a different environment. It was a rougher environment. He was kind of like a hard ass, I guess. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Sorry, Tyler. That's what he said, word for word. So he said that, you know, the difference between this year and last year is you know, Coach Schloss, he's hard on his players. He expects greatness out of them. But, you know, it's an environment thing. He said that Coach Pierce didn't seem like he cared too much about his players. And you could tell from the way that, you know, these players have been, you know, interacting with each other, whether it's on the sideline or in post-game press conference. It's a mentality thing. One thing that they emphasize in, you know, pressers is that they're going to take one game at a time. So the unit just seems a lot closer this year. So that's why I'm going to have to go with mentality and coaching.
You know, people may not always see it, but baseball is probably one of the most mental games in all of sports. Just, when you're going up to the plate, are you able to make contact with the ball? When you're throwing a pitch, are you able to hit the strike zone? It is mentally taxing. And, when you have a new coach who's able to kind of change the mental feeling around the program, that you can see a lot of improvement and confidence comes in a lot more. All right, great answers. As with the Tournament of Champions, I'm not going to tell y'all who gets the points or who wins until the end of the final block, so it's going to remain anonymous for now. All right, moving on to our next question. Last night, the NBA play-in tournament officially began, which begins our segue into the NBA playoffs. There are many marquee matchups that we will be watching for in the first round, including a few that could potentially last 6 or 7 games. Which official or potential first-round series do you see as being the closest one, and why? Aram.
So, I believe I said this on Crossfire on our press box on Monday. I think it's going to be the Nuggets and the Clippers. The Clippers have seemed to be a bit stable, more stable than the Nuggets the past, year or two. The Nuggets obviously firing their coach and their GM in the middle of a playoff push. And the Clippers, nobody thought they were going to be as good as they were this year. And they were one of the hottest teams down the stretch of the season. Norman Powell did a good job of replacing Paul George's production. James Harden, he's been playing at an all-NBA level. Let's see if that holds up in the playoffs. Kawhi Leonard's getting healthy at the right time of year. And, obviously on the other side, you got Nikola Jokic. He's probably going to average a 40-point triple-double in this series. It'll be fun just to see him, try to win the series by himself. But, like I said, before, they're usually like at the list of like the contenders 1 and 2 in the West. They've been struggling recently. They don't have a good roster, I don't think, constructed around Jokic. And obviously there's coaching internal issues, but I think Jokic is going to be enough to, extend the series to 7 games. I think this is probably going to be one of the only series that goes to 7 games in the first round that I can see. So Nuggets and Clippers going to be my vote.
Yeah, so here you have the Nuggets. They fired their coach. That kind of brings them down a little bit. And the Clippers are the Clippers. I feel like they've been the 4 or 5 seed pretty much all season long. And so whether or not the coaching decision makes it faster or easier, better or worse for the team, it's going to even out with the Clippers because they're right there in the middle. Ryan?
Yeah, I got to go. I'm going to stick in the West here. I'm going to go with the Timberwolves versus the Lakers, the 3 versus the 6. You look at the statistics, they don't lie. The team's points per game are within 1 point of each other. You look at the assist, also within 1 point of each other. You look at the Lakers, a team obviously led by one of the best players of all time, if not the best, LeBron James. Make the trade for Luka Doncic, I believe, a good 2 months ago now. In the offseason for the Timberwolves, coming up short last year, had to go through a very tough West where the Mavericks came out on top there. They trade for Julius Randle, giving away their star centerpiece that they've had for many years now, Karl Anthony Towns. You've seen both these teams try to transform a little bit here over the past few months, even current season. It's going to be a phenomenal matchup, a star-studded matchup. Julius Randle and he's laughing about Julius Randle. Without Karl Anthony Towns, it's going to be interesting. LeBron, Luka, Anthony Edwards. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be a close one.
Is Jaden McDaniels still on the team?
Jaden McDaniels?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
What's that? What's that saying?
Yeah.
Hey, they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. I think that series could go to 7 for sure.
Yeah. So lots of stars in that. Luka and LeBron. Obviously, Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels. It's gonna be fun to see. Hey, he's the guy. But yeah. Okay. So
He's a guy.
hey, just watch. Okay. So lots of good first round matchups. It's gonna be hard to see which one actually goes to 6 or 7 games. Those are some great answers. All right. Moving on to our final question of the block. 1 week from tomorrow, we'll all be seated on our couches or all together for another watch party of the NFL Draft. There are many predictions that have the 2024 Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, being the first overall pick. Yesterday, when Garrett Padell of CBS Sports asked the two-way player what he would choose if he had to pick between playing only one position or never playing football again, Hunter passionately said, "It's never playing football again. I love being on the football field, and I feel like I can dominate on each side of the ball, so I really enjoy doing it." Depending on the team he's drafted to, what are your predictions for the position Travis Hunter will play during his rookie year, and will he ultimately agree to play one position? Anyone can take this to start.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll go. Okay, so here's my prediction for Travis Hunter. Obviously, the best college two-way player, or one of them ever, won the Heisman, of course. I think he's going to go third overall to the New York Giants, and I think Brian Daboll is going to say, hey, I know how great of an athlete you are. You go play both sides, because right now the Giants need it. They are absolutely atrocious on both sides of the ball. They need a player like Hunter to come in, be the face of a franchise in a city that needs a new face of the franchise with the New York Giants. That being said, I do not think it's going to be long before he does not play both sides of the ball. He will use his athleticism in different ways. Special teams returning if needed. He'll play more of one position over time than another. So I think both sides will fade out. This is the NFL, man. Some hard-hitting dudes out there on a week-in, week-out basis. You're going to get dinged up if you play both sides, especially for a smaller-ish guy in Travis Hunter. Overall, I think to start, he'll be playing both sides of the ball while the Giants are still terrible. Overall and over time, that will phase out and he'll pick one side or the other, whichever side he's better at. That's my prediction.
Do you think that based on your answer, do you think that Travis Hunter could become some sort of like Jabril Peppers or Taysom Hill for the NFL, where he's like a Swiss Army knife and playing even other positions besides DB and receiver?
Absolutely. That's what I was trying to kind of hint at and mention, is that I do think he'll be used as special teams or in other capacities in some way. Definitely like a Taysom Hill, and he's just super uber athletic. In the NFL, playing both sides of the ball, longevity-wise, will ruin your career. I do think they'll be used like a Swiss Army knife in many ways.
Got it.
Yeah.
Aram, what do you think?
So, playing both sides of the ball, it worked for him in high school. It worked for him in college. I don't think that's really going to be sustainable at the NFL level. If he does that till for a couple years, I mean, he may end up being the youngest person ever with CTE. He may end up dead in a pickup truck and wherever. He could end up like Mike Webster, Aaron Hernandez, Antonio Brown. Who knows? So I think obviously it depends on where he's drafted at. If he goes to the Giants, I think they're going to take Shador. But obviously if he's drafted to the Browns or the Patriots, those are teams that already have lockdown corners in Denzel Ward and Christian Gonzalez. I'm not sure what that's all about. So it depends on where he's drafted to where he's going to play. Obviously, he can't play. I don't think he's going to play, 70% of the snaps on either side of the ball. Obviously, these teams are terrible. He's going to play wide receiver and defensive back, on whatever team he's drafted to start off his career. But, like Ryan said, longer down the line, he's going to have to choose one, because it's not whether he can do it or not. His body is just not going to be able to keep up with it. So if he goes to a team like the Patriots and the Browns, I could see him, playing a little more wide receiver because they need it. Versus if they go to a cornerback needy, if he goes to a cornerback needy team, I could see him playing corner.
So to your point about it depends on the team, do you think that whether it's ultimately DB or ultimately receiver, do you think that's totally dependent on the team right now, or do you think his ultimate position, the team does not matter, he's ultimately going to play a certain position?
Well, I mean, he said it in the quote, right? If he can't play both sides of the ball, then that's it for him. GM is not going to go in and make a smart decision by saying we're only going to play on one side of the ball. He's going to play both sides. But overall, I think it is the NFL is about situation. It's a situational league. So whatever situation he finds himself in, that's going to heavily influence, what position he ultimately ends up playing more. He's going to play both, but towards the end of his, mid-20s, he's going to have to choose one over the other if he values his brain.
Yeah, the NFL, I mean, like you said, it's a lot of hard-hitting dudes. So you want to be able to protect yourself in any way on the field and preserve your health. But those are all some great answers. So, as you know, only one of y'all can move on. This is the Tournament of Champions. Y'all have both been here before, I believe. And that person moving on to the Rapid Fire Championship is Mr. Ryan Swantkowski.
Thank you, Robert G. Thank you. Aram had some great answers and some good competition. Excited to see you here in 15, 20 minutes. It'll be good.
Yeah, Aram, thank you for coming on to Crossfire this semester.
Appreciate you, bro. Still don't know what I'm doing up here, but
hey, we appreciated you. We appreciated having you up here. Thanks for coming on. All right, when we get back, we've got a whole nother set of contestants to introduce and bring on to this show. It's going to be exciting to see two freshman phenom go at it in the Tournament of Champions. Don't go anywhere. College Crossfire returns in just a sec. Welcome back into College Crossfire. It is the Tournament of Champions, and we just had our first contestant advance, Mr. Ryan Swantkowski. Aram Vela, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you on this show this year. And now we are on our second lineup of contestants as it's the second round. All right, so starting things off, in the first seat, we have a man who earned himself what might be the earliest bid in the Tournament of Champions in Crossfire history. You may have not seen him in a while, but you remember him from February. He's the biggest Jordan Spieth fan this university has ever seen. With 74 points, let's welcome back on our 3 seed, Mr. Nolan Clay.
Thank you, Robbie G. I'm feeling great today. You know, my Arsenal, they won today. They beat Real Madrid, and I'm feeling good. You know, I got a tough contestant right here, Tyler Strempel. He's got a suit on. I got shorts on. He's kind of like aura farming, so I'm kind of nervous.
Right, respect for the competition. That's what we like to see on this show. Nolan, welcome on. In our next seat, completing this side of the matchup, we have a contestant who is equally as good when it comes to debating sports. He's another huge Houston sports fan and is looking for redemption after a tough loss in rapid fire to the man sitting next to him in the second episode of the year. But he has worked hard to make his way back into Crossfire glory and find a spot in this tournament tonight. With 72 points, it's our 4th seed, Mr. Tyler Strempel.
That's my go. You know, they say dress for the job you want, and I want to be champion, so.
Hey.
That's all I got to say.
All right. All right. So let's do the coin toss. Mr. Graybill, Nolan, you make the call.
Yeah. Let me cook.
Make the call.
Heads.
I'm going to receive.
You're going to receive. So you want to go first? All right. The Tyler Strempel going first. All right. Second round starts now. The #1 ranked college baseball team in the country has a tough obstacle in their schedule coming up. Tomorrow, Texas begins a home series against #8 Auburn, a potential trap game against Texas State in Lubbock next Tuesday, and then, even though they're unranked, an extremely anticipated series against Texas A&M, which is Coach Schloss's former team. How will the Longhorns fare out over the next 11 days, and where will they be ranked in Division I college baseball standings after it's all said and done after this stretch?
All right, I have them winning both series. I'm going to just start off as saying Texas State's not going to beat them again. I don't think that that's going to happen twice. That's just what I'm going to say here. First, starting with the Auburn series, I think both of these series, I'm going to call them 2-1 3-game series. I have one game losing each. The first game, the pitcher for Auburn has a 6.45 ERA. That will be a win. But then they go to the top end of their rotation. He has a 2.39 or something. I think that's going to be a win for Auburn. I have the last game being a win for Texas. I think that their offense is good enough to overcome their second pitcher. My phone just fell. And then going on to the A&M series, A&M has been getting hot. Their offense has been clicking, and they've been doing much better. They had 2 games win against Tennessee to take that series. They were number 1 at the time. They swept South Carolina, and their offense was showing that entire series, especially Caden Kent and Caden Sorrell. 9 RBIs for Caden Kent in 10 days, which is absolutely amazing. I think their offense is getting better. I think they're going to take 1 from Texas. I don't think Texas loses any of this series because they're both home field, and that home field is really, really good, especially Auburn. They have a losing record on the road. They're going to be 35-7 at the end of the stretch. I think they're going to be number 2. I have Arkansas going back to number 1.
All right, yeah. You talk about how much that home field advantage matters and the offense playing well. That could definitely happen, and it's hard to sweep your biggest rival, and it's hard to sweep a top 10 opponent in the span of 10 days. It's hard to do that. So you got them going 2-1 both series. Nolan.
Yeah, starting with the Texas State game, Texas State only wins at the dish. So I'm going Texas. Then they're playing tomorrow against Auburn, so I skipped that series a little bit, but I think they're going to go 2-1 Auburn, like he said. I think it's going to be tough to sweep such a good team, and they're going to have some 2 top arms, like he mentioned. And then for the A&M series, I'm going a sweep, Texas over A&M. Look, A&M's been picking up some steam lately. This is going to be a very emotional series for them. I just think it's going to be too emotional for them, to be honest. I just think they're going to let their emotions get high. Aggie's just going to Aggie. They're going to do what they do, and they're going to get swept by Texas. So I think Schlossnagle is going to get his revenge. And I think losing one game, they're going to stay at number 1, and Arkansas will not overtake them.
Emotions will definitely be running high for that A&M series, but you mentioned revenge for Schloss. It's gonna be hard. Like what revenge besides the animosity that A&M had for him is there to get? But you are right. Yeah. There is something to prove there.
Revenge is not the right word. Yeah.
But there is something to prove.
Yeah.
You do make a good point there. So some great answers. All right. So we go from baseball now. Now we're gonna go shift to a different sport. On Sunday, one of the best golfers of the current generation finally lifted the burden off his shoulders. Rory McIlroy won the 2025 Masters tournament by defeating Justin Rose on the first hole of a sudden death playoff with a birdie. This is the first major he's won in over 11 years. And now he finally has the Grand Slam, an accomplishment that only 5 other golfers have earned. Now that the pressure of winning a Masters is gone, how will Rory McIlroy perform on the PGA Tour moving forward, and will he have any success in future major championships? Nolan, start this one off.
Yeah, I think the floodgates are open for Rory in major championships, and he's already been winning on the PGA Tour, but the major championships, I think the floodgates are open. He's playing with house money now. He's got the career Grand Slam already, and this season, I'd be shocked if he doesn't win another major championship this season. You look at his stats this season, he's number 1 strokes gained total, number 1 scoring average. His putting has been so good this season, number 10 strokes gained putting. And look at the major championship venues this season. The next major at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, Rory McIlroy has won 4 PGA Tour events at Quail Hollow before. You go to the U.S. Open at Oakmont. Oakmont is a bomber's paradise, perfect for Rory McIlroy. And the British Open this year is in Northern Ireland at Royal Portrush, Rory McIlroy's home country. I'd be shocked if Rory McIlroy does not win another major this year, and I think he's going to win multiple over the next few years.
So it was really that burden being taken off his shoulders it was that burden being taken off his shoulders that really just freed up a lot of his just mental space and emotions and allowed him to just kind of get loose for future majors coming up. Yes. Definitely. Tyler.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Nolan on the putting thing. This is the best year of putting he's had in his career. Putting average lowest ever in his career at slightly below 1.7 putts per I guess time he's been on the green. Let's look at some past things. He has lost majors by putting. Everyone remembers the 2022 U.S. Open. He lost because he lipped that putt. He had to take a break from golf after that. He does not have to do that anymore. Let's look at majors per month. This Masters is the first tournament he has ever won in the month of April in his entire career. The month with the most majors he's ever won is May. In May is the PGA Championship, which he's won twice. So not only will I say, yes, he now will win more majors, I believe he will win the PGA Championship come this May because his wedge game is elite. His putting is the best it's ever been. He has one of the best swings in golf, and everything is working in his favor. He's no longer in his head about major wins. It is the year for him to dominate like he usually does.
So he has more of a track record of success coming up.
Like he usually does in non-major events.
Right. But you're saying he's got a track record of success coming up because he's had the most success in May. And not only that, he doesn't need to worry about anything now. He's accomplished all the burdens in his career that he could accomplish. He's kind of just playing comfortably now.
Yeah, he's not playing for a Hall of Fame. He's not playing to achieve anything. He's playing for legacy at this point.
There you go. There you go. Great answers by the both of y'all. And now on to the final question of the round. Time to lock in. All right. The National League and Major League Baseball is popping off right now. Fernando Tatis Jr. and the San Diego Padres have the most wins in the entire league and their division opponents. The San Francisco Giants and the LA Dodgers both have 12 wins. No other team in the MLB even has won this many games yet. Meanwhile, the New York Mets and Chicago Cubs both lead their divisions and have already broken 10 wins. With all of this dominance on the baseball diamond, which National League team do you think is the best right now and why? Anyone can go first.
So I have been on the show multiple times saying that I always look at the statistics. There's a thing called the relative power index. It matches win-loss records with strength of schedule, and that team that is number one in the entire league right now is the Chicago Cubs. I believe that they are the best team in Major League Baseball. It's not all about win-loss record. It's about strength of opponents. It's about having the best offense in the Major League. It's about having the best run differential in Major League Baseball. It's about having 4 players above 300, and your only player below 200 on an average is Dansby Swanson. When you have only one player, also the second lowest is 222, which isn't great, but it's not terrible. I mean, you have them in a low spot in your lineup, and you're doing pretty okay. When you're able to win against good opponents, have a good record, and have the best offense in the league, you can beat anybody, and I think this is the year where the Cubs finally show that they are back.
Statistics matter, and value is found in the statistics. Also, Dansby Swanson, great player.
Yeah, the Cubs are a good team, but it's very early in the season. They weren't this good last year, and I don't know if they're the best in the National League right now. When I look at the best in the National League right now, he mentioned already, Robbie G mentioned already, the most wins in the MLB right now. The San Diego Padres, I absolutely love this roster. You got such a good batting lineup. Fernando Tatis, probably the most underrated player in the league for me. You got Manny Machado. You got Single Merchant, Luis Ariz, Jackson Merrill. They are, if I'm not mistaken, the first in batting average this season, 5th in OPS, and their pitching staff, I think first in runs allowed this season, 2nd in batting average against Nick Pivetta, Dylan Cease, Michael King, and they have Robert Suarez, who hasn't given up a run this season from the closer position. I absolutely love this team. If there's going to be a team that challenges the Dodgers this season, it's going to be the Padres, and they proved that last season, taking them to Game 5 in the NLDS last year.
So both some great answers right there. Y'all made this one very hard, and it's tough to pick between, I think 2 very in-depth answers, especially when you're ending that one with an MLB question is pretty hard. But as you know, there can only be one person who advances. And y'all made this one very hard. But the person moving on is going to be Mr. Nolan Clay.
Let's go. Hey, good round, man. Yeah.
Nolan, thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on, Nolan. Tyler, thank you for coming on too. Pro, college baseball, and golf. Great having y'all on. We'll see you in the next round.
Yes, sir.
Tyler, thank you for coming on. Oh yeah. When we come back, we have Justin Goosman. Welcome back into College Crossfire. Another great round in the Tournament of Champions, but as you know, only one can stay. Nolan Clay moves on. We appreciate having Tyler Strempel on this semester, a hard-fought semester, and a dub in there, so congrats to him. All right, now we're on to our third contestant, third pairing of contestants. Two unks on this show, two veterans. This is going to be LeBron versus KD. LeBron versus KD here a little bit.
Okay.
But right here, two elite head-to-head matchups. All right, so in the first seat, we have a man who lost during his first appearance of the semester, but then bounced back and snagged the 2 seed with a whopping total of 76 points. Unlike Ryan Swantkowski, he thinks the Warriors will take care of business against Houston. Starting off this pairing, it's Mr. Justin Goosman.
We're ready. That's all I have to say.
Short and sweet, short and sweet. All right. Now, on the other side of this pairing, we have a man who, when he's not dishing the hottest takes in sports or covering events, he's breaking ankles on the basketball court. He's excited for his successful Capitals to begin Stanley Cup play here very soon. He's our 5 seed with a total of 55 points. The man who won the Tournament of Champions in his very first semester at TSTV around this week last year. Let's give it up for Mr. Ryan Hopper.
Thank you, Rob, and know we're tight on time, ready to run it back.
All right. Love the energy there. So let's get right into it. On Sunday, Texas softball dropped their second straight loss to then 7th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. After losing this series 1-2, Texas is now 3rd in the country, while Tennessee is 2nd. Up next, they continue a very tough stretch of games, having to play series against 9th-ranked LSU and 4th-ranked Oklahoma, along with a single game against 22nd-ranked Oklahoma State. As the conference and NCAA tournament approaches, how can Texas best respond in the next set of important games to avoid losing another series?
Well, the offense has to get back on track because the offense is obviously the strong suit of this Texas softball team. In their 3 of their 4 losses, they've only scored 1 run this season. If they're going to win games, they have to put runs on the board. Against Tennessee, the biggest issue, in my opinion, was they could get on base, but couldn't bring runners home. I believe it was the 5th or the 6th inning when they had a runner on first and second. Then they bunt a ball out to the shortstop pretty much. 6-4-3 double play. That's pretty much the inning for Texas in that moment. But they also have to help out Tegan Kavan in the pitching staff. We all know the talent that she is. They are going to have to help her out when they come into relief for her because she's getting tired. The arm has some fatigue. That's why they lost to Tennessee, in my opinion. So if they're going to win these upcoming series against really talented teams, they've got to get the offense figured out, and they've got to help Tegan Kavan when they come in for relief.
Ryan, go for it.
Well, I have a very similar answer because when you look at what they have to do going forward, you have to look at going back. They lost 2 of 3 to Tennessee, and here's why. They scored 5 runs, only 16 hits across those 3 games, and Rob, they left 18 runners on base. You cannot do that against a top 10 opponent in the Tennessee Vols. And look, you have to get not just hitting, not just clutch hitting, extra base hits. Their top 4 hitters represent 69% of their homers this year and 65% of their doubles this year. They have to get production from spots 5 through 9 in the lineup, throughout the lineup. You can have a great top 4. You can have a great 3 pitchers, Gutierrez, Kavan, Morgan. You need the bottom of the lineup to come through.
Needing everyone to kind of carry their own weight on the roster. Well said by both of y'all. All right, now let's get into talking another sport. As the final picture of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs locks into place very soon, there are many favorites who are predicted to make a deep run, like the Washington Capitals, Toronto Maple Leafs, and Dallas Stars. With multiple teams determined to bring home one of the largest trophies in all of sports, which 2 teams do you have playing in the finals in June?
Well, I feel like the NHL playoffs is great because it is statistically the most random playoffs despite it's a 7-game series. So you know what? You have to go with something not random. Playoff experience, Rob. That is the theme with my 2 teams. First up, we're going with the Tampa Bay Lightning out of the East. As much as I wanted to say my beloved Washington Capitals, very young team, great young coach, they're not good enough yet. Tampa Bay has multiple guys still on the team from their 2020 and 2021 back-to-back cup runs. Nikita Kucherov, still top 5 player in this league. Brandon Point, Sorelli, tons and tons of young players. Lots of great goal scorers, and critically, Andre Vasilevsky in goal, still one of the best netminders in the league. That can take you far. In the West, we're going to go with the Vegas Golden Knights, consistently a top 5 organization in the league since they entered the league in 2016. Another Vezina contender, which is the best goaltender trophy for Aiden Hill. He's right in the race for that. Jack Eichel, one of the best players in the league. Brett Howden, a young player, and then tons of experience. Pietrangelo, all of these guys who have been on these cup runs. They won the cup 2 years ago. We're going with proven experience. Also, the Lightning, best goal differential in the league.
All right, consistency with Vegas and those Maple Leafs. Anything can happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Justin,
I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche.
You said the Maple Leafs.
I said the Lightning.
I'm thinking of the blue team. They're both.
Yes.
Yeah, they're both.
The
other blue. Yeah, the Lightning. The Lightning. Yes, my bad. Excuse me.
All right, sick. I'm going to go with the Colorado Avalanche and the Florida Panthers. We'll start with Florida. They're going to get Matthew Tkachuk back soon. Sergei Bobrovsky is one of the best goalies in all of hockey. And then on the other side, the Colorado Avalanche, Cale Makar is probably the best defender in all of hockey as well, with Nathan McKinnon, one of the best forwards. 32 goals on the season, 116 points on the season. In the NHL, it is all about experience. You said it's random. I agree it's random, but Florida has had the experience. They went on the run last year. They took it home last year. I think they have a really good chance in the East to get it done. And then the Colorado Avalanche, top-end talent is extremely important as well, and I believe that they have that. So I'm going to go with those two teams to be the two playing in March. They might not be the -- 1 seeds, the key favorites, but they have the experience and they have the top-end talent to get it done.
All right, can never count out the Florida Panthers. I mean, they came up short the season, not last season, the season before. They won it all with Tkachuk this past season. They're a fun team to watch. There are both some great answers there. But we also, moving through this block, we've got another sport to talk about. Another league is beginning their playoff stage soon. The NBA. So with the playoffs starting, there's a lot of questioning up in the air as to why one of the recent NBA championship teams, the Denver Nuggets, fired their head coach, Michael Malone. Despite the widespread confusion around this front office decision, how would you evaluate this firing now that some of the dust has settled? And how will it impact Denver's playoff appearance this season, along with their potential appearances in their upcoming seasons?
The 3 words that come to mind are befuddled, bamboozled, and betrayal. One, befuddled and bamboozled because what are we doing firing your coach and GM with 3 days left in the regular season heading into the NBA playoffs? If you want to fire one of them, that's fine, but you have to have clear direction, and the Nuggets have none of it. And betrayal because Michael Malone has developed Nikola Jokic, has developed Jamal Murray, instilled confidence in Michael Porter Jr., who is coming off of a devastating back injury when he entered the NBA. It makes no sense. There is no direction in this Nuggets team. It is 100% going to affect them in the playoffs because they do not have the experience at the coaching level to get past the Clippers. And for years to come, they're not going to be able to bring in free agents. You just fired your GM and coach because they couldn't get on the same page about experience or rookies. Sorry, it's just sad management. It is just complete dysfunction in the Nuggets front office.
Ryan, go for it.
So I would agree that it has completely messed them up for this season. In the last 30 years, no coach has ever been fired later in the season when the team is over 10 games over 500. They were 13 games over 500. It's ridiculous. Why not just wait till the end of the season? Even if you think it's about to go wrong, now you know it's about to go wrong. The Lakers I think it won't even go to 7 games now. They're directionless, as Goose said. But now going forward, I think the answer is a little bit different. Yes, Michael Malone was instrumental in the development of a lot of those guys, but in the NBA, Rob, this is a new league. There's no more Jerry Sloan's, Pat Riley's. The average coach length is 2.5 seasons, and at a point, it comes a point in the locker room where they've heard all of his cliches. They've heard all his speeches. They've heard all his stories. They might need a new message. They just shouldn't have done it right now, and I think that could bode well for them going forward. I didn't get the GM thing either. It smacks of mismanagement, but this could help them after this year, but it has completely messed them up this year, and I think they're heading for a first-round exit as a result.
To kind of sum up both of what y'all said, it doesn't really sound like the Nuggets really know what they're doing right now. If you're going to fire a coach, fire him early on in the season or fire him at the very end, but don't fire him in the most awkward time of the year when you're about to get into the playoffs. Like, do they really know what they're doing? Not really. All right, so those are both some great answers. As y'all know, this is the hardest part of the show, is eliminating someone and advancing the other. But we can only bring on one to the next round. And that person going to the Rapid Fire Championship is going to be Mr. Ryan Hopper. The upset of the night, Justin Goosman, thank you for coming on and putting on a great semester for us. All right, we appreciate having you both on. We'll see you in a little bit, Ryan. When we come back, we have the Rapid Fire Championship, the one to claim it all. Do not go anywhere. College Crossfire returns in just a second. Welcome back into College Crossfire. As you all know, only 3 contestants now remain. This next round is of crucial importance for College Crossfire immortality. Only one will win. If you're no stranger to Crossfire, you know that we're about to begin our 3rd and final round, the championship round, Rapid Fire. Double the points, double the pressure. It's about to get hot. Let's get right into our first question. Anyone can take the mic at any point and go for the answer. There's no order here. All right, starting off, as the Masters takes place this weekend, there will be many golfers who are looking to finally win their major in golf. We have a little bit of technical difficulties here. Here's the question. I was like, what is going on right there? Here's the question. All right, so as you know, the WNBA draft took place on Monday night. Haley Van Lith, Georgia Amore, Anissa Morrow, big names drafted to go to the big league. But one of those, the most elite names, Paige Beckers, UConn, another #1 overall pick who just won a national championship with UConn, and she joins an elite group of players who've done that. There's 6 people from UConn who've done that. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Brianna Stewart, just to name a few of the other ones. So there's 6 people. My question here about this is, what is the best collegiate sports team to have a pipeline for professional sports? Pick any sport in college. Okay. Which program has the best pipeline for their respective professional sports league?
It has to be over the modern era Alabama football. They have put everybody in the NFL. I don't know what the stats are. They've broken numerous records. I get it. That's mainly because of one head coach, Nick Saban. But when you're there for almost 20 years, in which he put so many players in the NFL, changed so many lives for so many young men and their families, and they've gone on to do great things. The knock for a long time, Rob, was, oh, but Alabama never has a quarterback succeed at the next level till Tua did that, till Jalen Hurts did that. And so there were, and Tua's, it's not his fault he's getting concussed. You know, if you built an all-star team of any college in the NFL, of their current players, Alabama would win. And you got people like Ryan Williams on the way. So many studs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kentucky basketball. You know, you got John Wall, you know, the OG. You got Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, just to name a few. Coach Cal has had an absolute had a really good time at Kentucky, and he's just developed so many NBA talents. And yeah, and also shout out to Willie Cauley-Stein. That's a random one, but yeah.
What a pull. What a pull. Ryan
Good pull,
Swantkowski.
good pull. Yeah, it's hard to not go football here, and so especially collegiate. I mean, Alabama's a great answer. Don't get me wrong. As of late, though, it's got to be the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, their defense has been draft in and draft out loaded. First round, second round. I believe 2 or 3 years ago, Walker was the first overall pick. This year, they have multiple guys slated to go in the first round. Yet again, their defense has always been fantastic. Offensive lineman has always been great. Quarterbacks have been A lot of programs that have great draft talents don't have quarterbacks that go first round. Just kind of how it goes. Georgia football, Kirby Smart, they breed athletes over there. They're the SEC top dog, right, with Bama. It's very debatable, but as of late, Georgia has had numerous draft picks go and also be successful in the NFL already.
All right. Great answers there. Now, for our second rapid fire question. Okay, so as you know, we have going on right now Nico Iamaleava, Tennessee quarterback. He just left, but as of today, Colin Cowherd of Fox Sports announced that he's signed. It's in the college sports era, we're using the word signed now. He's at UCLA now. He's at UCLA for a deal that will bring in less NIL money, less than the amount he bargained for at Tennessee. All right, so this really, a lot of people have spoken out about it. Micah Parsons spoke out. Kirk Herbstreit spoke out. Cam Newton spoke out. Some of those people I just named, they've said it should not be pay to play. So this is the tough question for rapid fire. If you were to finally step in and put in regulations on NIL and transfer portal and just fix the whole entire situation, what are you doing?
I think biggest rule overall, and I think they used to do this back in the day, you get one transfer, you transfer to schools, that's great. You hit the portal, great, and you're at a new school, great. If you transfer again, you lose a year of eligibility. It's really that simple. The numbers behind the NIL, it's going to vary per school. There's meetings coming up, I think even later this week or next week, talking about budgets and talking about where allocations of money are going to, what sport. That is all years and years away from being finalized, if ever. A rule you can implement is the number of times you can transfer and can hit the portal. Bring in loss of eligibility for a good year or so or longer. That plays a major role in a player deciding whether or not to actually leave their program. So I say if you transfer more than once, you lose a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good rule, but I think there's a law that says you can't do that anymore. If I'm not mistaken, I thought there was a law that says you can't limit the amount of times players hit the portal. I don't know if that's
crazy.
I don't know if that's true or not. I just don't think you do anything. I honestly think this is just how college sports is nowadays. You know, coaches are moving all the time. If coaches can move, and like when players get recruited, they get recruited by coaches. Coaches, like, those are the people they build connections with. If coaches can move however much they want, players can do the same. You know, players are trying to like get money for their families, for their careers. I mean, it's just how the college sports is nowadays. You just got to get used to it. That's my take, to be honest.
So, no, this is a complete mess, Rob. I respectfully disagree, Nolan. It is the wild, wild west. There has to be reform. Basically, Rob, this is pro sports now. You know what pro sports has? Legally binding contracts. And because most of these are publicly available universities, these should be publicly available contracts, just like how you can submit a FOIA request to get, say, Sark's contract at the University of Texas. These need to be publicly available contracts for a set period of time to where you cannot just dart like Nico, however you pronounce his last name, did, or how that UNLV quarterback in the middle of the season, oh my God, he should could have got jumped by his teammates in the locker room, Rob. You're 3-0, and you leave, you quit on the brotherhood because of a dispute over NIL money. It disgusts me. It disgusts me, and there should be contracts, because if you want to make the money, great. Just like all of us are applying for jobs, we're looking for contracts. They need to be subject to the same rules if they want to be paid. I'm for them getting paid. There should just be contracts so there's transparency and understanding.
Good, some good rules right there by all y'all. Good rules by two of y'all. Nolan, you obviously didn't propose. Like that's your take on the situation, though. I respect that. All right, moving on to the final question of the night. So, we're through the first quarter, or we're almost near the end of the first quarter of the sports calendar this year. We've already been working with the Super Bowl. We've had the Masters, we've had March Madness, and now we're getting into the NBA playoffs. You know what makes all of that great? Not the actual sports that go on at those events, the music behind them. The sports themes, the tunes, when you turn on the TV and you have the NBA playoff theme running through TNT on your station, when you have the March Madness theme going on True TV, TBS, TNT, CBS. So my question is to you, which sports music theme or tune is the best from any network, and you've got to tell me why?
I'm going with the Masters theme music from CBS. Masters theme music, it is so iconic. It's called the thrill of victory. It just gets you so excited. I'm not gonna lie to you. Before the Masters, 2 weeks ahead of the Masters, the song was stuck in my head for 2 weeks in a row. It's just so iconic. It just gets you excited. Like, even non-golf fans get excited for the Masters because of just how iconic it is, and the theme song just really encaptures all of that.
You got it. Sure? All right. Masters is great, don't get me wrong, but as a kid, you growing up, you don't really care about golf. That's probably just the fact for most kids. So I didn't really care about the Masters that much.
We're all kids, aren't we?
But do you think back to your childhood and be like, oh yeah, I remember the Masters song when I was 8?
I do.
Okay, you might be one of like 100. Because I think of Sunday Night Football song when I'm 12 years old and I got my fantasy team needing 30 points from God knows who. Sunday Night Football song on NBC is the goated football song, and it reminds me of my childhood, and I think everybody would agree. Sunday Night Football.
Is that the Carrie Underwood one, or are you thinking the actual jingle for Sunday Night Football?
Well, it's both. I would think Sunday Night Football, Carrie Underwood goes hand in hand. So I think really both of them, but also the jingle. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
There you go. Full crowd. So I considered that. Remember the CBS on SEC, but I'm not going to go with that either. I'm going to go with the only theme music that is famous, not like outside of the sports public. It's all over TikTok. It's the Fox NFL music. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, pow, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, pow, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, bum, 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 bum. Come on, you're ready to watch football now, Rob. I mean, Thanksgiving, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, you are ready to watch football. I mean, Fox is one of the main carriers of the NFL. They have the most games along with CBS. That is a tremendous jingle, and they'll never get rid of it because it's dynamite, and they've had it since the 90s, and it gets you ready to watch football.
All right. Those are all some great answers, but our tournament champion for this semester is Mr. Two-Time Ryan Hopper. Do a quick FaceTime real quick.
I'd like to thank everybody here. Like, everybody's been a real family. Alex Ovechkin, all-time leading goal scorer. TSTV Sports never talked about it. Why? Anyway. Oh, 1-0. Turn into 1-0. It's your hangover cure. Good night, everybody.
Thank you all for tuning in tonight. To our contestants, everyone, all 6 of y'all, thanks for coming on. It's been a super fun semester. Ryan Hopper, congratulations to you tonight. Congrats to everyone coming on. To our in-studio personnel, Tyler Strempel, Gabriel Silva, those in Master Control, thanks for helping out. This has been a super fun semester and a great Tournament of Champions.